Hi, my name is Sally Bernard, an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer. Welcome to Call Me Zena, a true story into the spiritual realms. Join me as I sit and discuss the journey of self-discovery, and with the help of my spirit guides, it's time to trust your intuition. Sit with me and call in live 888-994-4995, Studio A. And now onto the show. Everybody, I'm just going to open up with a slight correction. This is my book, Call Me Zena. Unfortunately, on Amazon, it says ages 9 to 12. We're having that corrected. It is not for children. Well, I mean, children can read it, but it's an adult book. So anybody that may have gone in to buy the book and they see ages 9 to 12, that is not what's happening. It's for adults. Of course, you can read it to your kids, but it's definitely for adults. Okay, I'm going to start the program today. Just wanted to make sure that everybody knows that, okay? I'm actually going to read some prose that I wrote in this book. So I had no idea what I was writing. I was in some sort of a trance, which I am actually right now. So I did this exactly the same way as how I painted. And this is, what does the future hold? We can but think what lies ahead. We can but dream what lies ahead. All that is will be. Think about the wonders of life, the miracles that are ahead. Give thanks to the now. We hold such power. Please let it be. Do not complicate what is so simple. Watch the birds fly. Watch the clouds form. Give thanks to nature. It is so simple. Please understand. We are and always were. Give joy to the world. Sing and dance with laughter, and you will bring forth happiness to people. Do it now. Don't wait. You are blessed with knowledge. Remind yourself each and every day. You will find the truth. This is a promise. You will see. Thank you for this day. Thank you for all this knowledge. Zena. I wrote this quite a few years ago. I have quite a few in here. I guess they call it automatic writing, but to me, as I've learned on my journey, it's making so much more sense. I had no idea what I was writing, so please appreciate that. And if you should buy my book, I have many more in there. Thank you. So now I open it up to the studio.
Sally, what do you think that means, everything you wrote?
I think I was just, as I am now, because I always have to open with a question. I was getting messages, Dawn. I wasn't so aware of it then because this is a few years back, but I was writing. Did I understand what I was writing? No, but as my journey has unfolded more over the years, I'm understanding more and actually appreciating more what I actually had written, which I didn't even know it was called prose. I knew nothing about prose, but they said to me, this is prose. So I go back into that now. I don't memorize it. I have to read it from my book. I don't know what I wrote until I read it. But it's making so much sense to me, and hopefully it does, because my message, I'm sitting here now to give to people what I have learned. I can only carry this on by example. And the more that I'm understanding it, the more I want to give out my message to people. I'm not special, I've always said that, but I have had I thank you, everybody, and my guides for letting me understand a little bit more. I'm on a journey, as we all are, so this was part of my journey, I guess, the prose.
So you had never written anything like that before?
Never. I wasn't interested in art or poetry, but when I opened up, I guess, and I didn't even know what was happening to me, I started writing just the same way that I was painting.
Interesting.
I have quite a few in the book here.
And how's everything going with the book?
Well, it would be all right, but however, Amazon made it, well, I'm going to say my publishing, for some reason, they're actually, which I opened up with saying, that the book is for people, for children 9 to 12. By all means, read this book to children if you feel that you want to, but it isn't a children's book, it's an adult book, because by then we're understanding a little bit more of what's happening. So we're in the middle of correcting that. So hopefully it's going to be corrected by next week.
A3, I'm on A3. Sally, I got a question. Today, we did something that I haven't done in all the years of doing, I shouldn't say that. It's the second time we've done it because we did it at Atlantic High School as well. but it's been a while. And I got this calling. We were contacted by Boca High School to go in, and we didn't know what we were going for. No clue. And Dawn kept saying, but why are we doing this? And why? And I got a message, we're doing this because we're supposed to do it. What does that mean when you get that kind of message?
Well, that definitely is what you're meant to be doing when you get that message. Even though you may not be aware of where you're going into, there is a reason for that. I don't know the situation. I know nothing about this, Freddie, because this is the first time I've heard. But whatever transpired in that situation, it was your guides or their guides, because I believe very much, because this is how I'm functioning by this, that you were meant to be there. You don't always know when you're there. You know, you might say in our time, because there is no time on the other side, oh, now I realize why that happened. We're not here always to interpret exactly what's going on at the time that it's happening, but it will show itself. I feel that you're not, I mean, I don't know, because I know nothing about this. This is only what I'm feeling, that you're not quite sure why this happened. But that's okay, because you will find out, if that makes sense to you.
Well, we got to talking about 2 classes. Each one has about 25, 27 students. And they interviewed us on their show, is the way it worked out. But I'm curious because there's so many kids in these classes, some that don't know what they want to do with their future, some that they say they do want to know with their future. I just wanted to see if maybe the guides had something to say about why we were there.
Well, there's something bothering me. I mean, I never normally bother.
We're
It's
doing
okay.
some work in the other room.
Yeah, that's okay. I normally can overcome that, but it's kind of, okay, what I'm feeling is that it will show itself. You were there because whatever you talked about was meant to be. You know, I don't know what this is, but I'm sorry. I never, it'll go away in a minute. Okay, you were in the right place, as I had said, giving the messages or whoever you talk to. It will show itself, Freddie. I think it's going to show itself in a few weeks. This will make more sense to you. The fact that you gave, I believe you gave your message to people. You said what this is all about. Am I correct by saying that?
We told them what we did, and they told us what they did.
Okay,
But
that was,
nothing was planned.
that's all right, because you voiced what you did and they voiced what they did. That was the start. This was the beginning of something. It doesn't always show, it's like a journey. It may show itself in a week, 2 weeks, even a month, even a year, but you have to make a start. What I'm hearing is you made your start. You did what you had to do. It may not make complete, it's like a puzzle. It may not, all the pieces may not be in place, but you have to make a start, and you did. And I'm feeling very comfortable about that, if that makes sense to you.
It does. And part 2 of that question is we have a show tonight at 388, and of course you're going to be
Yeah,
there.
I will be there.
So people could come and talk to you there as well. And this is another one that everybody keeps asking me, well, what's the game plan? What's the end? I don't know. I don't see the end of this one.
The important thing is that, and for me too, when I walked into this cafe 2 years ago, I had no idea where this is going. Today I have quite a following, but I followed in my heart, what I wanted to do. I didn't know, I had never actually broadcast like this before, but it goes out, so I'm going to use the airways. So your message is going out. The fact that you're in you're going to the, it's 388. I'm going there. I don't know what's going to happen, but I feel that I need to be there also, as anybody else that's coming into the studio. It's not necessary or go to be there. It's not about me. It's actually not even about you. It's about the journey for all these people that are going to be there. There is an ending to that. There is a reason for that. I follow very much in that today. I didn't know where I was going, and this started with what's happening to me maybe 18, 19 years ago. I had no idea, but I knew that I was on my journey, and something inside of me said, whatever shows up, and this is important actually for you guys, whatever shows up is not coincidental. It's not always immediate, but the outcome is what really matters. And there is no time, and they tell me that often on the other side. We measure by time what's happening, but don't necessarily do that. Just follow your path and where you're going. And the ultimate answer to this is what's going to happen. And if you feel comfortable, this is very important to say this, if you feel comfortable in what you're doing and you don't get all, well, I'm going to say anxiety, because that actually can deter you a little bit, but which we had just been talking about, you are on the right path. It doesn't happen. Sometimes it happens instantly, sometimes it's not. But you can say a year later, oh, that's why, same as I walked into the studio, I'm going to use that as a reference. I didn't know I was here. It was the second person that told me to come here. I'm so comfortable here. I love this place. But it took a second person to bring me in here, not the first one, but it showed up again. That's what's important.
All in the timing of what it is.
Absolutely. In our timing, yes, absolutely. There are no mistakes. We might think so, but there really isn't, because although we have free will, whatever happens in our life, if we're following our passion and we feel comfortable about it, go ahead and do it. Do it.
All right, so tell me, you and I were talking before you started. Anxiety, not sleeping. You think these are all messages that are being given?
Yes, because in my way, now that I'm in my trance that I'm in, it's an imbalance. And if you're feeling, it'll show itself. But that's not always bad. I'm going to say imbalance is negative, but we can turn that into a positive because we're aware of it. If we're not aware of it, Dawn, and we continue, then it continues to be in imbalance.
Imbalance of what, Sally?
Imbalance with the universe, with what we're doing, because we are given signs that maybe we need to change that slightly. And if you're, as you are, if you don't mind me saying, an empath, and I am too, we're lucky enough to recognize that. So if you recognize the fact that you're feeling a little bit apprehensive because the anxiety is coming from apprehension of maybe I'm not on the right track, give it thought. You might be, but you need to work it out more. So there's something going on. And as with me too, I've had a lot of anxiety. We kind of relate very much with that. So I have to figure this out. I need to center myself. I need to put myself into balance and look at the positive and the negative, because both are there for a reason, to figure what is going on, and then we need to figure it out. That's very, very important. But actually, I'm going to say it's a gift, because you at least know that there is something going on. Most people continue with a negative and don't even realize that it's a negative. So if that makes sense, people that, if you know what an empath is, we feel other people, then you know you need to correct something. I don't know what, but there is something that is a little bit unbalanced.
Then how do you correct what you don't know?
Well, okay, because it will show itself, and it will show itself again and again. And if you keep getting this feeling of imbalance, of anxiety, you then have to go within yourself and try to figure out what is going on. I need to correct this. There are no coincidences and there are no mistakes. So if we can figure it out, we're, I'm going to say, ahead of the game. Because we can correct anything by going within, by meditating, by doing what you feel that you might want to do, following your passion. If you're still getting that anxiety, it's a way of saying to you, okay, do what you're doing, but figure out that's not working for you, type of thing, if that makes sense.
I don't know. Neither one of us slept last night, so I'm thinking.
I didn't either, no.
And then this crazy thing, I have this candle, this goddess protection, and she broke. So what? You go, you get a new one. The new one comes in today, broken in the exact same place the other one broke.
Okay, I'm going to say thank you to the guides, although that might sound silly.
Because I know that's a huge message.
But it is a message. And the fact that you're aware of it, Dawn, which is very, very important, because we can continue always doing something that's not in alignment with what we're meant to do. But if we're able to get those messages, which you are, I don't know what it is, and maybe we can talk a little later, but there is something in your life that you need to change. And they're trying hard to tell us. It's just like maybe if I saw something and I would tell you, we get it from a different way, and they're aware of everything because there is no time, so they can see the future, they can see the past. But it's for us to kind of see what's going on. They're telling you to wake up to some sort of situation. That's what I'm feeling. It's a situation that's very important because they keep showing you that, so wake up to that and see what's going on.
Wake up. I don't sleep. So maybe I should sleep
Well,
too
I mean,
instead of
waking
waking.
up.
No, I know.
I had also a bad night last night, but that's okay because nothing. And I will say this again: nothing is coincidental. Nothing. So the fact that you're able to, this is really
All
bothering
right, why don't we
me.
take a commercial break? Let's take a quick commercial break and see what we
I'll
can
be
figure out
back
on
in
the
a
other
minute.
side of the break.
I'm sorry, I never do that, but it's Friday. My story starts at 4 or 5 years old. My name is Sally Bernard, and I was born at the end of the Second World War, in the middle of an air raid siren going off. My parents were in a movie theater, and my mother went into labor. My father ran out of the movie theater, but there was no cabs to be available because everybody is running for cover. However, they found one, and the taxi driver was given the address to take my father and my mother to the hospital. As my mother was in labor, about a half an hour, I arrived at exactly midnight. I think I was fed messages at a very early age. My parents used to like to play cards, and they had a card game every Wednesday or Thursday night at home when I was a baby. And I actually said to them one day, why do you keep waking me up at night? The card game is waking me up, and I can't get back to sleep so quickly. And they looked at each other and they said, we're not really waking her up. They were quite away from my bedroom. And they called in a psychic to say, what in the world is going on? And the psychic said that I'm getting many messages that are waking me up at night. I thought whatever I was experiencing, other people were experiencing too. You don't know until you realize that you are different. Many things were happening to me, things that were unexplainable to me. What I had dreamt was happening. I could sense many things, and the things that I was sensing were coming about, but something was going on. I will explain to you everything. You're ready.
A true story, Call Me Zena, is the telling of Sally Bernard. Born in London, England at the end of the Second World War, she came into the U.S. in 1979. A mother of two and a grandmother of four, she settled in Florida and worked in real estate. While going through a difficult time in her life, she was admitted into a hospital overnight in December of 2005. While settling back into her life, she began having vivid dreams and documenting them. By the third dream, a lady gave her a message to draw. With no artistic background or interest into art or history, Sally listened to her dreams and grabbed a paper and crayons. Today, she has over 150 pieces of inspiring art and poetry. This book follows her journey and interpretations of these messages. She describes in detail on how she is able to astral a project and who she has met along her travels, including her spirit guides. This book will show you how anything is possible with an open mind. These events have changed Sally's life and direction, and this book will show you how to change yours. Purchase Call Me Zena on Amazon today, authorhouse.com and amazon.com.
Thank you for joining me through this journey of self-discovery with the help of my spirit guides. I'm Sally Bernard, and you can find my book at authorhouse and amazon.com or visit my art on my clothing in my boutique at artbysallybernard.com. Now back to the show. Okay, welcome back to the other side of the show. All right, anybody that has any questions, please call in.
888-994-4995.
And I actually have memorized that.
What's the number?
888-994-4995, Studio A. Since we were talking about anxiety and not sleeping, and I just please, if anybody who's watching right now calls in, maybe they did not have a good night last night. It may be answering both Dawn and I's questions. I have some idea why I didn't sleep because there is a lot going on in the universe. But anybody out there that's listening to the program, please call in and maybe ask me, and while I'm in a trance, I'm able to answer more in detail for you.
Linda says Linda said she did not sleep either.
Okay, thank you, Linda, and thank you for that question. I believe that right now so much is going on which we don't really completely understand in the universe. It's in a transition, and this is happening and it's affecting us. There are many people, since we brought this up, and I'm sure there are many people that are listening, that have had this problem of not being able to sleep, because I'm going to say we're a little uneasy with what's going on. There's so much being thrown at us. I'm going to even mention Mother Earth, because it's in a transition. We have to get over what's going on. There is so much negativity going on in the news. I say that I'm not going to listen to the news. However, it's hard because we do need to know what's going on. But all we're thrown is negativity, one thing after another. So if we can bring that up and raise our vibrational energy a little bit and say, let's send goodness out into the world. If I do nothing else today on my program, please just say, I'm helping Mother Earth, because so much is going on and it's disturbing us because we're living on the earth. So I'm sure not just in the studio alone. You just called in, Linda, that you weren't able to sleep. It's affecting us. We can get over this, but we've all got to believe that what's happening is that people, my guys are telling me they are listening, okay? They are trying to help us. We just have to believe that. There's so much more going on that we don't know. I've had a lot of validation, and I know that you have, Dawn. And Freddie, if you don't mind me saying so, I know that you've had some validation too, okay? So they're trying to contact us to have peace here, peace and love. That's my message today. Let's find peace and let's find love for one another. And then maybe this anxiety and all these wars may diminish. I can't tell you that it's going to happen, but we're in a transition right now.
How do you raise your frequency? How do you do that?
Okay, I love that question, because my answer to this is to try and see the positivity in things. Even when there's negativity, you can say, but I'm having all this happening to me. How can I be positive? But if we continue with that, we'll continue with the negativity. I'm going to say 100% certain about that. So let's go within and say, let's see how we can change this to raise our vibrational energy. Because the universe, there are frequencies. And if you're on a low frequency, and I'm learning just like everybody else. If you stay in that low frequency, there are so much, I'm going to say, negative things happening in that negative frequency. So just by raising your frequency, the best thing is to try, because it's not easy to be positive in a negative situation. And if we all do that, I am certain everything's going to change. But you know what? It doesn't happen overnight.
But can you help raise someone else's frequency?
Yes, and we can do that by many different ways. I love laughter, and you've seen me on your lunchtime show. I believe that laughter and having fun is very, very important. That's coming from a slightly higher frequency, because if you're depressed and you're low, you don't feel like laughing. You want to cry. But if you make a joke about something, or you listen to something, even music that's going to lift your vibrational energy, so important. First thing is to understand that you can do that, because without the understanding, you're not going to understand what you're doing. So if you open your mind enough that when you're going through, I'm not going to say laugh when it really is inappropriate, but try to change that inappropriate point of view that you have to turn it into more of a positive vibration. And by going out there, and we often hear that, and it's hard to understand, we are all one in this universe. People go, what are you talking about? But really that frequency goes out to each and every one of us. We don't know where it's going, because not everyone's calling us to say, you changed me. But if we can believe that it's going out, let's send positive vibrations out there. It's called vibrations, frequencies. But it really does work. It really does. But you have to believe it works, and you have to believe in yourself.
The amount of sustaining a positive frequency. So if you're ill, let's say you're having, like Steve went through what he went through, and it's very depressing. It weighs on your mind as well as your body, trying to heal, trying to overcome. And we kept telling Steve, you got to stay positive. We kept trying to raise his awareness, and he came out of it. You know, I don't know today, is he okay?
He's 100% cancer free.
And I know another artist who died of the same thing, and he has his paintings in the studio. So there has to be some kind of formula about sustaining that level, because I guess that level of positive frequency, it must be really, really high. And you have to achieve it day in and day out,
You
yes?
have to work at it. And I'm going to use an example, and I never mentioned my stepbrother, but my stepbrother got the same as what Steve had, but it was 20, well, actually when 9/11 happened, so how long ago is that? He was diagnosed with exactly the same as Steve had. He's still alive today. Okay, he's got problems, obviously. They've done a lot of work with him. But when I used to say to my stepbrother, how are you? He used to turn around to me, and I didn't understand this 20-something years ago. What do you mean, how am I? I'm fine. And you know what? He's still alive today. They did not have the treatment 20-something years ago. Unfortunately, he has had to suffer quite a bit, but they've kept him alive through positivity. And actually, that message that I got from him all those years ago, that why is he saying to me, I'm all right? He's not all right. But he kept that in his mind that he was going to be all right, and he's still here. So it's very important. And I did tell Steve that. I can only do the best I can. It's still up to the individual to understand what I'm saying. Steve is 100% cancer free today, and you're listening, Linda, and you know this. But there are things, you know, that radiation and that you need all this, that he's still getting a few of the side effects. But to keep that positive vibrational energy going, it's not just with sickness, it's with anything. Continue, even though you say it's so hard. That's all right. We're human. It is hard, but do it. It works. The ultimate example is it will work.
And what are the messages you're seeing that so many people are feeling this uneasiness? I don't always want to say anxiety, but dis-ease.
Because it's happening. It's the same. I mean, it's hard, and it would be another show to talk about Mother Earth or Gaia that's going through all this, but it is an entity. And we've had, I mean, everybody knows what's going on in the news, and unfortunately the news only gives us a lot of negativity. So when I hear people say I'm not listening to the news, I agree with that, but I also agree that we need to know a certain amount that's going on. I don't turn the news off all the time. I still listen. But negativity breeds negativity. Mother Earth, in her own way, if you want to understand this or believe it, do I understand it completely? No, but I'm aware of it, is going through the same thing. We're getting messages. I believe that we're getting many more guides today coming through to guide the people that want to listen, to say, okay, we're going through a transition. As in any transition, you have to come out of it. And by coming out of it can cause a lot of turmoil in the interim. So the ones, especially empaths, are going to feel that. But what if you could try, and for me too, to try and understand, it's going to help the ones that are not feeling that to become more positive. We have to go through it to come out of it. Basically, that's my message, and that's what they're telling, and I'm hearing very strongly. So what we think is negativity, in the end, will be positivity. That makes sense.
So it's
Unfortunately,
the
you
process.
feel it. I do. I'm not sure about you, Freddie. But
I feel it.
You feel it. Yeah. It's a disruption. It's like, why is all this happening?
So what does warm water mean?
Warm water is a soothing thing. I'm feeling that. It's a healing. So I'm not sure what you're meant to do
I don't know.
with
They're
it.
telling me something with
Okay.
a glass of warm, like milky water or something.
Okay, that's a healing from within. To drink, you know, like warm milk. I'm not suggesting, because a lot of people are lactose intolerant today, but drink something, tea, chamomile tea. It soothes us from within. So if we can soothe ourselves from within, it's going to show ultimately outside of ourselves into the universe. It's not an easy task, and from what I understand and from what I'm hearing in my head, we've been through this before. But right now, it's very, very important to raise the vibration on Mother Earth, because and I'm not going to go into the voice of doom because this will happen and that will happen, but we can see what's happening. So let's try and change it. Let's think positivity. Let's think good things. Yeah, it's hard, but let's try.
Well, let's talk then about some good things that you've got going on. You've got your clothing line is now coming out.
Yes, I thank you for bringing that up. I've wanted to do this. I did it in a very small way with my clothing line, but I've had new art coming out and I've shown it to a few people. So in about a month or so, I'm going to have a clothing line with my art on it, which is going to be, everybody that's seen some of the samples are loving it. So I'm feeling very, very good. It's going to be called Sally's Boutique. So I'm going to go from there.
It's your artwork on a dress or leggings or t-shirts?
Swimsuits.
Wow.
On a tote bag, shoes I'm going to have. And I've had such a good reaction for people saying, can you do more with this? So I'm starting a new journey at this time in my life because I feel anybody that looks at it has loved it, so I'm going to pursue it.
It's high frequency clothing.
I'm thinking of you in a Speedo with Sally's artwork on it.
Carrying a tote bag and flip-flops.
Why do I have to
love
wear?
it. I
Why
love
do
it.
I have to wear a Speedo?
Because that would be so
I haven't
funny.
got the Speedos yet, but I have ladies' bathing suits, and I can't suggest that you do that.
You see
We're
that?
raising our vibration.
I don't need to raise that vibration.
You know what? As long as we can laugh, Freddie, that's raising a vibrational energy.
It only
No one-
takes my partner to say things like that. But I was going to ask you. You know, Superman had a cape. Batman had his Batman buckle belt, whatever it is.
Right.
So if you wear something that you feel good in, that just sustains high frequency. No.
That's a very, very good question that you asked me, and perception of that. Yes, it does, because all the ladies out there, and I'm sure it affects men too, if you've just had your hair done and you put your makeup on and you're wearing something new, you feel good. And then you feel good to raise your vibrational energy because you feel that you can. People might say, well, that's superficial, but it actually isn't, because if you feel good about yourself, whatever, a new hairstyle, a new color, you color your hair, it makes you feel good. You're raising vibrational energy, and that goes out into the universe. So the next person that you talk to who may be feeling very depressed, but you're not going to feed into that because you're feeling good. So you go, okay, we can change that. And actually, if you believe that, you can change that other person's perception of it, and that carries on. It's like the dominoes effect.
Can people take away your vibrational frequency? Can they? I mean, I think they call them vampires, but
Yes.
can people who are down and about, can they take away some of your positive frequency?
Absolutely, 100%. But the key to that is to be aware of that. And I will go to say that if you feel that that's happening, I suggest, I don't always do it either, that you take yourself out of that situation for the time. It can change. And I'm going to use Aldo as a very good example because he was my guide here, and people that know me, and he's in my book as Adamir, used to say this to me: you have to remove yourself for that situation, be it an hour, be it a month, be it a year, be it years. But you have to remove, you don't have to do anything, but my advice is to remove yourself so that you don't get their vibrational energy, because there are vampires. A good example of that, if you're talking to somebody and they're tiring you very much, and you go, oh, when I'm around this person, I feel so tired. Question that. They may not mean harm, but they're pulling from your energy. It's very real, this. So I'm not saying don't talk to that person again, but maybe remove yourself, get yourself together, and then maybe go back and talk more. But be aware of it. It's very, very, very real. That's very real.
I saw a meme of a fairy yesterday. She's brushing herself off. That's just me brushing off all that negative energy you're sending over my way.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful, because we believe in fairies, okay? Yes, they exist, and they're here to help us too. Positivity.
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 Do anyone have questions over there?
No, she's 100% dead on. I'm loving what.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I've been doing this now for a couple of years, and I'm gaining more and more of an audience, and I'm learning myself as I do that. But I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, because positivity is so very important. I mean, it's not all about positivity, but if we know that and we continue on that track, hopefully, and it's as my guide used to say to me, who was here in physicality, the dominoes effect. It's like throwing something into the ocean and it continues. It rubs off. And it's so important. If I can just do this I can't tell you I'm right about everything, by example in my own life to say this is what happened to me when I followed this path. But thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Linda says she thinks it's the political climate is causing anxiety. But we talked about it. It's just the vibrational energy is lower with that.
It's very low. Unfortunately, I'm going to say we have politics. It's part of our everyday life in this world. But yes, if you continually, I mean, it's hard to answer that because it's real and it's happening, but does it bring us down sometimes? Because it's causing so much chaos between humans. One person is on one side, one person's on the other. Does this make sense? We're all in this world. Let's try and lift that vibrational energy and all get along with each other. And let's figure out what the problems are together. Let's divide us. Aldo, my guide here, Adamir, used to say what's happening is they divide ourselves and they want to divide and conquer. We don't want that. We want to conquer. Let divide one another. I love your vibration over there. I feel it.
You're speaking my language.
Thank you.
Really are, because it's like you said, when you said negativity begets negativity, that's absolutely right. It works the same way. What you're saying works the same way with positivity. So why not focus on that positivity?
And you know what? That's beautiful, because even if you don't believe everything I'm saying, that's all right, because we have free will here.
Absolutely.
But let's fake it till we make it. And I used to say that a lot. When you have something negative, fake it. When people say I'm having a bad day, don't say that. Because let's say, even if you're having a bad day,
yes.
I'm having a good day.
Yes.
And both of you, your vibrations is coming through so strong. I'm having a good day. And that bad day will turn into a good day.
Yes.
I absolutely believe that 100%. And I've been doing this a while now. And I'm hoping I can only show by example.
Exactly.
I can only tell people what to do by example. But it's so important. I feel I'm not special, but to give this message out to people and let them carry on what I'm saying, and then it will.
And it's a perpetual thing,
Perpetual.
People who identify with a circumstance, a scenario, or an emotion, we as human beings really identify best with what is familiar to us.
Right.
So when we're in a forum where we're all practicing that state of being, it becomes perpetual.
Absolutely.
And it's infectious. It's just as infectious as the negativity.
Absolutely.
But
And you know what? I'm going to say fake it till you make it. Let's see what happens when we start saying, yes, that's not a good scenario that you're telling me, but let's see what we can get out, because we're on a learning journey.
Yeah.
So let's see what we can get out of this, though it's not hurting us as much, and let's see what we can do to make this better.
Yes.
That's what they're telling me. Let's make this better.
I'm always telling Tangela,
and it will work.
there's a reason we are all
you.
on this
Absolutely.
planet together.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, we'd all have our own personal planets to live on.
Personally, and there are, and I believe there are many different planets. This happens to be a planet of learning, so we are going to have a lot of negativity thrown at us, but you know what? There's more out there.
Yes.
And we can raise that vibrational energy, and we will all be a lot happier.
Yes.
But thank you so much
we have
for
the
that.
power to determine what is priority.
Absolutely, 100%. I don't believe this is coincidence. They're sitting here right now. I didn't notice you guys over there. Hi.
Well, the young, and they're going to be doing some music where we're going to, nothing comes more truthful among singers, artists, people that have to create, and they have to believe in their own security to get them over the hump, because in their world, there's so much no's.
Well,
Like sales, when you were in sales. All of these no's create a negative vibe. I don't care how positive you are.
You're right.
But it creates a negative vibe, and you have to really dig deep in the core because you're talented. And just because two people say, I don't like what you do, doesn't mean that you're less talented. So it becomes a challenge of wills. You want to believe what you want to believe. You have to sell what you believe to someone else. I've heard them sing, I'm a believer, and I know that great things are waiting for them. But the ones, the power that bees, like we're going to be doing tonight, if they like what they hear, it's good. So what do you tell artists specifically, people that are on the confidence bubble? They have to constantly play precisely to a positive vibe. What do you say to somebody like that?
First of all, believe in yourself, because if you believe in yourself, miracles happen. I was in sales. I believed in my product. A lot of people didn't, but I believed in it, and I was very good at what I'm doing. I'm outgoing in many ways, but sales was harder for me to do it, but I was very successful because I truly believed in what I was doing. Then overnight, everything changed. I became an artist, and many things happened. So as long as the first thing is, it doesn't matter what anybody says. Believe in yourself, because if you believe in yourself and you're following your passion, you cannot not succeed. I absolutely give you that as a promise, because I've seen that. I'm starting later in my life. I believe in everything that I am talking about, everything. I believe that I share it, because by sharing it, people are understanding more, and that's my mission, to end my journey on this particular, because I believe in reincarnation, this particular life, to share it. If people don't believe it, that's okay. But this is a lesson I've had to learn, because right in the very beginning, and there are people that I know that go, Sally, we like you, but stay away from this. That's all right. It's okay. I put them somewhere else in my life. But I'm talking to the people that want to learn. And there's nothing wrong in having both sides of that coin. But I can't continue with someone to make them believe it. I want to talk to the people that do. And I feel that very much with you guys here, everybody in the studio. So it makes me feel better. So I'm able to do more of what I'm meant to do. So
People, you can't even tell them your dreams because they don't believe in your dreams. So why even bother? Let them see it.
Exactly. But it took me, that was a lesson I had to learn, because when all this happened to me about 18 years ago, I woke up to so much, including becoming an artist, being able to paint with messages. I wanted to tell the world. The world didn't want to hear, but certain people did. So I had to not take it personally. I had to walk away from those people and say, okay, you're going to bring me down. I knew that the ones that wanted to listen to needed me as a person that was able to give positivity, not negativity. So I've continued my journey that way. And people will say, but they don't want to know. Don't tell them. I said, no, I need to, but no, I don't. That wasn't their time. Right, right.
Artistry creates joy, and it's so important for us to have joy. Singing for me and singing for Tangela, that alone, the creation of music, that within itself, regardless of who hears it or who doesn't, the action of creating and participating in that brings us pure joy.
Perfect.
And whether people sing or whether they are painters or graphic artists or whatever it is, I have always urged people, find your true
Passion.
joy.
Absolutely. I call it passion, which
It's
is the same thing.
It's the same
Because if
thing.
you follow your passion, I'm later in my life that I'm following my passion. But you know what? That's okay.
I am
Age
too.
is
I am
just
too. I'm over
a
50,
number.
so yeah,
But as long
yeah.
as you're doing that, I truly believe, and I'll say this on the air, you cannot go wrong.
That's
because
right.
if you're following that passion, be it I'm also an artist, I paint, which I'd never done before, doing many things that I'd never done before, but I'm doing what makes me feel good.
And that's what you were meant to do.
And there's no way that you can go wrong with
Yeah,
that.
that's
no
what
way.
you were made for.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank you so much
yeah.
for your input. That was great. I'm glad you guys showed up in the studio.
Well, I sat down and I started listening to I came in on part of the conversation. I didn't hear it from the beginning, but I mean, after the first sentence that came out of your mouth, I was like,
We were like, we're all in.
There are no, and I've said this,
We're all
I've been
in.
doing this for 2 years now here at the studio, but there are no coincidences.
No.
So
No.
your timing, it might not have been the beginning of the show, but it
Right.
doesn't matter.
Right.
You're here.
Right.
And that's
Yeah.
what really matters, okay? Absolutely, 100%. Thank you so
You
much
came
for your
in right
input,
on
both
time.
of
good
you.
to see you again, Sally.
You're a great singer, and you
Thank
both
you.
are
Thank
too.
you.
I just
you.
want to say that too.
Thank you.
Both fabulous artists.
Hey, Freddie.
Lots of questions. All right, keep going. Josh, don't you have a question for Sally, Josh?
Oh,
Sally.
come back. You need to come back. I feel your presence.
Hi, Sally.
Hi, Josh.
How's it going?
Everything's going good. How's it going with you?
Pretty good.
Good, good.
I mean, just I guess the basic thing. If any, the spirit guides have anything to say to me, like I said, I just finished school, trying to get that full-time position. So I just.
Okay. As you're following your passion. It goes on with what we were just talking about, Josh. And I know you, and I've known you now for a while. But continue if something does not feel good to you, and it's basically the same message that we're saying, then you need to look beyond that. What makes you feel good inside, and you're giving yourself every opportunity to follow this. Follow your passion. It may not be rewarding in some ways like you want it to be, but ultimately it will. And I'm feeling that very strongly. I need to tell you that. Continue when you feel good and you're doing something, you're going, well, I'm not getting the money that doesn't matter. Oh, I say it doesn't matter. It's easy to say that, but it will come to you, because as long as you follow what you're doing, you will be okay. So that's a very important message. I need to tell you that right now. Very important for you.
Also, something else to spring to my mind just now as well too. So I got like two groups of friends. One group is just like they've been my brothers. I've known them all my life, but friendship-wise, I don't really connect with them like that. My true friends, they're starting to like drift apart and do their own things. So I feel like I'm starting to hang out with my old friends again. I don't know should I just keep doing what I'm doing, or just go out and visit new faces, new people, and all that?
Well, keep an open mind with that. Go out, meet new people, but we attract where we're coming from. So I don't know about your old friends or your new friends, but if you feel more comfortable, maybe you didn't a few years ago and you've gone back to your old friends, that's where you're meant to be. But always keep an open mind. Continue to meet new people, Josh, because we attract where we're coming from. So they call it maybe the law of attraction, whatever you want to call it. But that's what actually happens, because more and more people are going to come into your life with your thinking. You don't even have to think it. It's your being that's going to attract the people. So maybe some of your old friends, maybe some of your new. But there are many people out there that you'll say, oh my gosh, do I relate with them? So always keep an open mind about that. That's very important.
Okay, so like-minded individuals, falling on that
Like-minded.
same
Yes.
wavelengths and the
Yes, because
vibrations and all that.
you're the only one that's going to know that. But if you feel comfortable, maybe you met someone or an old friend of yours that you haven't seen for many years, but you used to know them. Maybe they're on the same kind of wavelength that you are. They will come back into your life. It's all about timing. The ones that won't, you probably won't see them, or you might hear, but you have nothing in common. So always keep an open mind about that, because people will always come into your life. But the ones that you feel comfortable with are the ones that you need to, that are more like-minded. And we change all the time with our likes and dislikes, but that's a very important measure, a gauge to know who you should be friendly with.
Sweet. And has anything happened to you this past week, or anything that that seems bizarre, or any like stories that you would like to talk about beyond the spiritual realm that you've seen?
No, what actually has happened to me this week, because I've had a little bit more time at home, I've been listening to, I don't usually follow other people that may be channeling, but I have, and I'm finding that I relate so much to them. I know, and I've talked about this, that I have to open my show with a question, and I'm thinking, am I unique? Mm-hmm. But how many channelers that I have watched recently, because I don't like to follow because I think maybe I'm making it up, but I know I'm not. They all say we have to have a question. So I don't feel, it brings in guides. So for me, and it's strange that it's nothing strange that you asked me that. I'm becoming more and more aware of what I'm able to do. Can we all do this? Yes. But I'm coming more into my own with this, that I'm following a lot of people that I haven't listened to that are kind of having the same kind of reactions to what I have with how my spirit's guides come in. And that was just coming to me. I'd not learnt that. But I'm feeling more comfortable because I don't feel like, sometimes I thought maybe what's happening to me? But it's happening to other people too, that channel.
So it's kind of like we were just talking about right now with just the friendships. Everyone have
Yes.
that like-minded individual or that same mindset.
Right. I can't believe you even asked me that question because it's not something that I probably would have even come out with. But it means it's ringing more true to me even now because you answer me that. Yes, this last week, that's exactly what has happened to me. Thank you, Josh, for
Yeah,
that.
of course.
Great.
Freddie, you have anything to remark? Any questions you have to ask?
Well, the funny thing about today's show is that you get 6 different versions towards the same positivity, which I think is the most important thing, especially being Monday. How do we sustain this level all the way through Friday with everything that comes at us? How do
Okay.
you put aside the negative stuff?
Great question, because we are still human in our human form. And I can say to everybody and to myself, remain positive. It comes and it goes. That's normal. But ultimately, if we believe that it's going to turn out okay, even if we're going through a lot of bad stuff right now, because we all have that. It's a game we're playing to teach ourselves. But if we can just think ahead of the game, that this will pass, people say this too will pass, it will. And you can wake up the next day and see you have a different attitude. Can you fall back into it? Yes. We can't be positive all the time. But the most important part about this message is to know it and understand it and believe that there is positivity there and it will change. Just being aware of it. That's the most important, actually, just being aware of what's happening. Thank you. That was a good question.
Where do we find to get your book at?
Oh, my book.
Because you just came out with
yes.
came out with a new book, right?
Actually, that's coming out in about 4 months.
Oh, okay.
But this book, I've revised it slightly. And as I had mentioned in the beginning, don't get turned off when you go into Amazon and see 9 to 12. We're in the process of changing that. But it's also on Author House. This actually is my journey in the very beginning. And I have said this before. It's important to maybe understand where I'm coming from because I actually documented a lot of my dreams in this to then see where the new book, which is going to be more, I'm going to say elaborate maybe, but it's good to start with this particular one. And I think it's kind of invisible because I see that, but it's Call Me Zena. It's easy. It's my show. It's everywhere because I was told to call myself Zena.
Yeah, we got the
I'm just learning more of the technical part of this. Yeah.
Just remember that on Amazon, that book is not for 9 and below.
Exactly. It's for adults, as I had said before, if they want to read it to their children, but it's actually with adult supervision. Absolutely 100%. It is not necessary for children to open this up because they're going to wonder what happened. With adult supervision, yes, it might be a good book, but I'm not. My messages is for adults, basically. Yes. But they will correct it.
We're trying to get that corrected.
We're going to get it corrected. That's technology. It doesn't always work the way that we want it to, but I'm learning.
Perfect. Okay. I think we're done.
Yeah, we are. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please, if you love this show, share it, which I'm getting a lot of shares with your friends if you think they may be interested in what we're talking about. And I'll see you this time next week. Thank you, and thank you for everybody in the cafe. I'll be there at 388 Federal Highway, right?
Want a reading, we can set you up over there.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it.
Excellent.
All right. Okay, so if you're local, come in and you can visit with me there. I'll be there this evening. And thank you, everybody at the cafe, for making this all possible, too. Perfect. Thank you.
You have been watching Call Me Zena with your host, Sally Bernard. As an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer, know that you can always seek me out for resources by visiting artbysallybernard.com. Join us next week, Mondays at 2:30. Have a blessed day.